Welcome to the Natch Podcast. I am your host, Diego Carrete, and I've spent my life helping people live better. On the show, our guest stories will inspire you to move, eat, sleep, and think better, meeting you where you are in your wellness journey. Now, be sure to click that subscribe button so when a new episode goes live, you'll be the first one to know. Hi everyone, welcome to The Nudge. Today we have a special guest, a friend of mine, Gaafar Elsouri. He's a performance specialist. He is an athlete. He is a graduate in psychology. He wears so many hats and he does that so beautifully, maintaining a very high, impressive, I would say, level of performance. So he's going to share some frameworks, some tips, some lessons that he's learned over his career as a professional athlete and as an entrepreneur. Without further ado, let's welcome Gaafar. Thank you for being here today. Welcome to The Nudge.
I'm very humbled and honored to be here, brother. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm excited because you're one of those, like myself, I would say that it's open to being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we can really impact others. I believe that vulnerability is a superpower.
Yeah, it's your authentic self. It's your truth. You're being truthful and honest, and there's nothing more powerful than that, I think.
Well, let's dive in, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's talk about, I always open with this question, your purpose.
That's a good question. I don't think we have one purpose. I think you have very many purposes. But if I am to put it in one term, it's to find your highest form of self. And by finding your highest form of self is you being truthful and great to yourself, which will make you a better person to everybody that is around you and humanity in general. So whatever it is, it could be your voice, it could be your expertise, it could be your trials and tribulations. I firmly believe that everybody can fulfill ample amount of purposes. But at the end of the day, I think it's to be better people, be better than the day before.
1% better.
1% better.
Compound.
Every day.
Let's go.
Every day.
So I think you're a superhuman because I thought you were 30. Now you tell me you're 39. Just told me off camera.
Mm-hmm.
Hope that's true.
It is.
Also, you are a performance specialist, graduate in psychology.
Yep.
Like athlete. How do you fulfill all that? How do you wear all those hats on a day-to-day basis? What's the magic pill to perform at such a high level?
I'm very grateful to the way my parents raised me. May their souls rest in paradise. They've always gave me room to explore my dreams. And my dream was to play basketball. That was the only thing that I ever wanted to do. And at one point, it led me to, I always knew I wanted to study psychology. So when I got to college, I got to really go into studying psychology and understanding the degree and how much you can use it outside, not just in the mental health professional aspect, but actually understanding yourself and for you to understand others. That degree has helped me in understanding my day-to-day, who I am as a person, how do I react to things, and it made me a better person when it comes to understanding where other people are coming from. So it came a full circle now that I am a performance specialist and I work with clients, because I would always say everything that we do is literally 99.99% internal, which makes it mental, and obviously your state of being on the inside, your emotions. So with that being said, I rely heavily on what goes inside of me as an output to how I perform in a gym and how I perform with my clients.
And on the court?
Yeah.
What has been your greatest achievement on the court as a player?
To be a dual sport athlete in the West when I was a collegiate athlete, to be in 2008, I was 2007-2008 season, I was the first African Arab player to sign a professional contract with Al Hilal, a basketball club in Saudi Arabia. We won a championship in my first year. And I signed in as an import, not as a local player. So that was probably one of my highest achievements. I was very proud of, being somebody with an African Arab nationality and being able to sign a professional contract as an import, as an expat. That was kind of cool. Other than that, I think right now at 39, the way I'm performing on the court or in the gym, that would be probably my highest achievement. The fact that I could still perform at a very high level, and I don't feel, let's say, quote unquote, my age. So I would say that would be my highest achievement. Another one would be just playing overseas. Any contract that I ever got or any opportunity that I ever got, I got to travel the world and I got to chase a dream. And some days it landed and some days it not, but it gave me a lot of memories and a lot of perspectives that not very many people can relate to. So I'm very grateful for that. Different.
It's been a ride.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Talk us through some of the roadblocks along the way. What has been one of the biggest challenges for you throughout your career?
Well, in terms of professional sports, it was my height, obviously. When I walk around, I don't give the vibe that I'm a basketball player. So it would have been my height. Me making it to play in a Western environment from the States to Canada, I grew up in the Middle East. I grew up in Saudi Arabia back in the day. And the fact that I made it that far just because I had a dream and I believed in it, and my parents gave me their blessings to explore it. You get to start understanding yourself on a much deeper level. You get to understand that you don't only represent who you think you are, but also the environment that you came from. The challenges would have been endless. You had to overcome your height. You had to overcome the lack of the nurturing environment when it came to sports within the Arab world. There was a huge lack of that. And somehow I was able to kind of overcome it by overworking.
There is or there was?
There's a lack. There is a lack of care when it comes to sports in general, whether it's on the youth level or even in the adult level. So for me to have made it from a place where literally I didn't have a coach, I learned basketball from videotapes because I had a friend of mine that was an American that used to travel, and he'll come back with VHS tapes of the NBA inside stuff. And I used to watch that stuff, and I'd go outside and I would try to emulate every single move that I would see. And that's literally my story with basketball. But I was just so captivated by the sport and the complexity of the movements that you're able to do that I just kept dreaming, and I just kept saying, you know what, I'm going to do this at one point. And it got me to get a degree. So I owe following that. Obviously, I owe my parents everything, but I owe that sport. It took me around the world. It gave me a degree. I got to see life very differently in so many different ways. And the roadblocks were always pretty much similar when it came to the sport itself. It's your height. It's where you're from. Lack of
support.
Yeah, lack of support, lack of preparation. And I had to learn all that. And I'm very grateful for it, because had I not learned it, I wouldn't be where I am today. So they actually worked in my favor. So now I can genuinely look at anyone. I mean, I don't have kids, but if I had a kid, and if I look at any kid and they have a dream, I can genuinely tell them, you can be anything you want. And I would mean it. It wouldn't be just like a cliche.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no. Whatever it is that is in your head, it's all realistic. You just need to figure out the way around it. And yeah, that's what I think those roadblocks did for me. Other than that, I had a couple of injuries. Injuries taught me a lot about my body. So there was not an injury that made me, stop playing professionally. Not at all. I don't have a sad story like that. But the injuries it was always that tipping point for me where, okay, what went wrong? Why did I get hurt? And then I started to really start looking into how am I being trained, and the programming, and what adds to what, and how do you rehab from that? So it kind of came a full circle now that I am a specialist and a PT. I sort of understand, when I have a client that has actually an injury. I've had a few surgeries. I've had my shoulder done. I've had my knee done. I've had a procedure done with my back at one point. They were not all injuries that were on the court, but they were just injuries in general. And now if I get a client that says, I can't do this because my knee or my back or my shoulder, and I said, wait, I've done this. I've done the surgery. I went above and beyond, and I understand where you are in that phase. So it gives me an ability to relate to those clients. So those roadblocks, they work very well if you know how to read what's in between the lines. What's the message that it's trying to deliver to you? So,
wow. And that knowledge, I guess, and performance, and I think that approach to life has brought you to also become a Nike athlete. How did that come about?
That was crazy. Shout out to the Nike brand here in the region. They got my profile from people that they know, and they contacted me one day, and they said, "We're about to have a Nike ad for, and it has to do with basketball. Can you go to this court and meet with the person who's going to assess whether you're okay for it or not?" And I was asked to shoot a couple of shots, and it was one of those days where I shot the ball really well. So then they had an interview with me. They asked me a bunch of questions about my career, where what I've done and on the court and so on and so forth. And the campaign, it was literally for just a campaign. I wasn't a Nike athlete then, and the campaign was very beautiful. It was everywhere. There were billboards about it. The TVC was nice. It was probably one of the funnest experiences I've ever had, literally. And after that campaign, somehow the team reached out to me and they said, "Look, we feel like you embody the brand, just by your presence and the way you carry yourself and the way you act on social media. So, you know what? We'd like to reward you with here you go, a Nike contract."
Wow, Mabruk.
It was a beautiful moment.
Wow. And what can you share, or what did you learn from being an athlete that you exported to your day-to-day and to the other areas of your life?
You can learn everything in the world from being an athlete, just a sport of life. You learn how to do the things that you don't like. That's the first thing you learn how to do. You learn to trust your journey. You learn that you will fall. You will mess up. You're gonna go off the rails. You're not gonna stick to let's say a regimen or discipline. You learn to literally go about your day to day every day. That you know what, I'm gonna do the best I can in this moment, and that's all that it is. And sometimes I don't feel like being in that moment. I genuinely don't. And this is when people are like, "Oh, but I'm not motivated." Well, it's not motivation, it's a drive. Motivation will come and go, it's external. The drive is an internal thing. So if you look at fitness or sports, they literally teach you life. They teach you that you got to work with what you have. You're in this moment right now. This is what you have. You got to work with it. Whether you're hurt, whether you're feeling healthy, whether you're in the best shape of your life or you're in the worst shape of your life, you have a starting point. Whatever it is, you have to work with that. 2, if we look at sports, sports will teach you how to work with people to achieve a common goal. I feel like people should learn, collective sports and individualistic sports because they have 2 different mentalities. I played American football and basketball, and the American football culture, you can have 100 players on a team, but there will be only 53 that will dress. And what we mean they dress, they put on the uniform out of the 100 or 110 that are on the team when it practices and whatnot. You don't need to be friends with everybody. A lot of your teammates will not like you. You would have some really bad disagreements with a lot of them. But when you step on the field, when you step on the court, he has my back and I have his. Because we're trying to win a game, we have a common goal. So it teaches you that. It teaches you to accept people from different walks of life. And it teaches you how to put your individualistic, better self to achieve a common goal around people. Now, when it comes to individualistic sports, it gives you that perspective of life that, you know what? It could be lonely, you could be alone, but it's definitely worth it. And whatever you do, you're the only person that is responsible for it. It gives you that accountability. If I put in the work, I'm going to see. If I don't put in the work, that's also on me. And I have a choice to put in the work or not put in the work. And both are okay. But if I have that thought, if I have that dream, if I have that goal, I know what it is to get there, and I know what it needs, and I know the sacrifices it needs, and it teaches you a lot. It builds your character. I think people should play a lot of sports and
Definitely.
work out.
And something that really caught my attention is when you mentioned drive and motivation, and it's almost like a buzzword nowadays. I follow you on socials. Every single day you put in the work at such a high level that I even sometimes feel not bad about myself, but I'm like, go and show up.
Right.
How does that happen? How can someone who is watching now have that battle against him or herself and show up and perform to the best of his or her abilities and just end up satisfied,
Right.
or at least get the work
That's
done?
a great question, Diego, because here's the thing. You asked me about roadblocks, and this is going to go into some hardships, but I understand how I genuinely, not a buzzword, not a cliche, I understand how short life is. I mean, in the last 3 years, I've lost literally my entire family, my mom, dad, and grandmother. My dad was about 4 months ago. And I know because we talked about those roadblocks, I told you about the injuries. I know how it is to get hurt. And the moment you put all of this in perspective and you understand that you're healthy right now, in this hour, you better be grateful for it. And how do you be grateful for it? You see on my stories, Diego,
It's an expression.
I always write gratitude in motion. So if I'm grateful for something, I'm not going to sit on the couch and be like, oh God, thank you for giving me health. Because I think God is going to look at you one day and he said, but I gave you bones and ligaments and health. What did you do with it? I go, So to me, when I'm sitting down and I remember the days where after my knee surgery, I used to cry on my couch. I just wanted to walk normally again, just walk without any pain. And I had like 4 other procedures because it wasn't healing like it was supposed to. And I was so terrified that I will never, ever be able to function at the level that I want to function. So every time I try to take it easy on myself, I remember I was like, no, I used to sit on that couch. I used to cry. I used to literally cry, bawling, sobbing. So once you have that and you've tasted something being taken away from you. Yeah, well, today is a good day, I'm healthy, I have a few aches here and there, and I'm sore, that's fine. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to give it the best of my best of my best. And most of the time, I go in there, man, I'm so tired. Yeah.
You suffer from tiredness as a human being?
Yes.
Doesn't look like, but
I'm like, man, I really don't want to be here right now. And then I go and the first 5 minutes and you start getting into it. And then, you try to push and push and push. By the end of it, you're like, yeah, there's a reason I came in here today. This was the reason. You always walk out of that gym room or that game better than when you walked in. And like I said, life is really that short. So let's say today was my last day on earth. I hope to God I worked out a little bit. I smiled a little bit. I joked around with somebody. I ate something nice. But definitely, I wouldn't want my last day on earth to be like, I didn't get a workout in. No, I would have loved to have that workout for an hour.
I think we need to hear this more often, man. I'm so grateful you bring this up because I have that reflection a lot on how when you have kids, you see time passing fast. And I mean fast.
I could imagine.
And you look at 9 years ago, photos of yourself, especially someone who's been an athlete my whole life, then you see how time passes, right? So you better make the most of it today.
Right.
So when I hear my clients or students or audience sometimes saying, I just don't feel like it, or I have this shoulder pinch here, it's like, man, get it done. Tell you.
Yeah.
But coming from you and hearing it from someone else, like with this depth, telling your personal story, then it definitely hits home.
Yeah, it's just the way it is, man. I genuinely believe that there is no better thing for you to do in a day than just to explore yourself mentally, spiritually, and physically, because you're 3 layers. You're more than 3 layers, but there are 3 aspects to you. And The way to exercise all three of them is to do the mental, emotional, and physical work. There's a place for each and every one of them. So I just think it's just
That's an awesome thing to do.
yeah. And it would be sad if you didn't. Why? Why sell yourself short?
Even if you have 20 minutes, what would you do?
If I had 20 minutes, one of three things. If I had 20 minutes to work out, I would try to hit a 5K run or more. Basically, it's going to be a full-on run or a sprint. That would be great, and you'll feel 10 times better. Or I would do a 20-minute deadlift session. There's nothing a deadlift cannot fix. Your mood, feeling good about yourself, feeling strong, whatever it is, a deadlift will fix it. Or a squat. Those are one of three things. Most probably it'll be a run, though. I enjoy speed. I enjoy running as fast as I can. It's different.
For a busy executive, for someone who is not yet, and I say yet for a reason, because I believe that after they go through the nudge, after they go through this conversation, something will click. Someone who is inactive, sedentary, a lot of responsibilities, stressed out. How does that person start? What are the components that you would advise that person to incorporate into his training, workout?
I would work on their perspective of what they think a workout is. You see, here's the thing. The fitness industry, sadly, made it all about aesthetics. If you look at great athletes, they look great not because they work out all the time. It's because they are training for something. Unfortunately, with the rise of social media and the aesthetic appeal to things, people have lost the understanding of what it is to feel that you're healthy. Feeling that you're healthy is somebody who, let's say me at 39, not feeling my age. When I do my blood work, my annual blood work, I love when the doctor's like, get out of here. You're freaking healthy. I don't want to see you again for another year. That's a beautiful thing. So I would start with their mindset for those busy executives, like working and creating a career with, and setting up companies and everything that has to do with business. It's all fine and dandy. But a lot of those thoughts changed when I had to bury my parents, because I realized you don't take anything with you. Nothing. The only thing you might take with you is the memories. Why don't you create new memories and enjoy yourself? Enjoy your body. You own your body. It's yours. It's for you. And if it's functioning, why not enjoy it? Why not explore it? Why not push it? And that's what I would start with. I would have to make them understand that you going to the gym is not a chore. It's a blessing. You get to do this. You get to have an option to do this or not to do this. That's your option. So the fact that you have that power, that I have an option whether I want to do it or not, I'll start working on how do they view it. What is it to them? What is that 2-hour session or that 1-hour session to you? What does it mean? And it's not just, let me get it done. No, let's really explore some stuff. What can you do? And then once people start learning their body, you'll see that click, it'll change. My job is not to be with you for the rest of your life. My job is to show you the door. And if I can teach you something and you will learn your body, you'll learn what to do when you start entering a weight room or a fitness facility, then I've done my job. And I've given you something that you can use for the rest of your life. So that's where my job is. But for that executive, I would straight away start planting what we call seeds in your subconscious. Is what is this to you? What is your why? Why are you here? And when they say, I want to lose weight, I want to look good, that's fine. But that's a byproduct of your movement, and it's not the actual goal. That's what I would try to change.
Start with the why, like Simon Sinek would say.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll get to understand a lot of things about how people actually think of the gym or the fitness facility. You'll get to learn a lot about people's character when it comes to that. Whether they like to work, whether they don't like to work, do they like challenges, do they not like challenges? Are they lost in a space where, I don't know if I want to really, invest in myself that way. It tells you a lot. tells you a lot about their character, and you help shape them.
Still haven't figured out why people don't invest in their health as much as they do in other luxuries, or they try to buy certain things to make up for that lack of certain things you cannot buy.
No. And that's the thing, when you're in shape, it's funny, people look at you differently. When you walk into a place, people understand that that's a person who knows their worth. That's a person who's put in the work. That's a person who's disciplined. That's a person who cares. To sort of, you can see the respect in them. It doesn't matter where you are in the socioeconomic scale, but the fact that you're in shape, people are like, okay.
Especially at...
Yeah. The older you get.
Gee, I tell you, when you're 20, being 12% body fat and lean and all I don't want to say there's no merit. Okay, there is merit.
Yeah, I get it.
But
it's easier.
After I turned 30 myself, done this for my whole life, you can just see how much you need to take care of it and how much you need to water this plant so it can actually keep growing.
100%.
And when you are 40, 45, 50 and you look healthy, let's not talk about aesthetics and bodybuilding type, healthy, robust, with a nice posture, that speaks volumes of yourself.
100%.
And that translates into every area of your life.
Yeah.
Your cognitive abilities increase.
Of course. Of everything. You're in tuned. Because you have to understand, for you to keep going alone, to invest that time, that means you're spending a lot of time internally with yourself. You're starting to get to know yourself. You're starting to get to understand that you could push yourself beyond limits. You start to look, say, okay, well, I'm terrible at this. Let me see how I can figure it out. And then you start to see, where's your breaking point? How can I push past it? Or am I going to push past it? So those are all things that through internal conversations with yourself, you start to explore different avenues of yourself. And I think, like we said, fitness does reveal that. But to the point that you asked when you said, I don't know why people... Look, I'm always happy that if people are not sick, they're not hurt, they're not in a hospital. But I would tell anybody that is healthy, go to an ICU unit. Just go for a walk. Go. Once you go for that walk and you enter an ICU units, they have very closed doors, the door, every bed has its own little room.
You can't see through.
You can see through it, but it's sealed shut. No, not even if it's open. But when you walk through that hallway, when my mother was in the ICU unit, and I was complaining about a lot of things that were going on in my life that were really terrible. And every time I went to that ICU unit, I'm not talking about my mom because my mom was at the end of the hallway. So I had to get to walk, and I saw the doors from different sides of different people. And I could tell by the way they were looking at me that I wish I had all your problems times 10. Just get me the F out of here. Let me walk again. Let me stand up again. Let me use the bathroom again. We walk around and we say, I don't feel like doing this today. Have you thought about somebody that maybe that's all they want? They would love to have your problems times 10, literally times 10, whatever you think you're going through.
They only have one dream, right?
To get the F out of that bed, 100%. And we take that for granted. So to me, I would advise anybody, if you're having a day and you go by a hospital, seriously, park your car. Go inside, go into an ICU unit. Go to a palliative care unit. You're going to see some stuff. And if it doesn't make you question, what are you doing with your life? Why are you not investing more in you? Sit down. Be with yourself. Be a friend of yourself. You'll figure it out.
Definitely, even everyone needs that. Even, healthy individuals like I consider myself, but need to get reminded of how blessed we are that we are here and that we're having this conversation. And see, I used to practice gratitude every day, and I quit for like 2 weeks because I got so busy. I started feeling, oh,
yeah,
really? If you stop doing certain things, you start taking things for granted. and it just, what is your daily routine? Talk me through your daily routine from a nutritional, lifestyle, mental perspective, anything that you feel like is worth highlighting.
Honestly, I don't have a set routine. I know that there has to be a workout done at some point during the day or the evening.
You plan it?
Define planet. Like,
do you prepare in advance? The day before, tomorrow I'm going to work out XYZ at this time?
Yeah, no, I do it in a different way. I train for performance and conditioning. I started to fall in love with conditioning. I know that I have that 1 hour session that I'm going to do for myself. And it's literally probably the highlight of my day. Now, I know I have my clients to get to, and actually they come and we train and stuff like that, and a few online people that I have to, check on their performance and stuff. But my day revolves around, when do I get to work out? To me, it's a spiritual experience. I'm genuinely there. Literally, I'm going to say this. I'm there to pray. I'm happily praying to God about my health. And I think a lot while I'm doing, especially the conditioning part, because there's a lot of heavy cardiovascular
people around
output.
You, they see,
oh yeah,
when I see the
I'm
videos,
wild.
They think this guy is crazy. You're in the zone.
Yeah,
that's the definition of being in the zone.
I'm letting it out, man. Whether I'm feeling good or I'm feeling bad, it's an expression, like you said earlier, and I love that word that you used. But as far as for the food part, I've been doing this now for 19 years. I eat 1 meal a day. I'm fasted. I'm still fasted.
No way. 1 meal a day.
Mm-hmm. It could be anything I want. I've never counted a calorie in my life. I've never looked at what's the ratio of what to what. But I genuinely believe in fasting. And I'm not going to call it intermittent or anything, just fasting. I'm fasted right now. I will only eat when my day is done. Why? Because I want to eat. I want to eat a lot. And then I just want to digest and do nothing. That's it. That time and energy is for my stomach.
Water and coffee are allowed?
Yeah. I'll have my water, my coffee, my green tea, maybe a juice if I felt, something sweet. But I've never actually thought of, the calories and what's this and what. That's it. I'm awake. The day is on the go. I'm not eating. My energy is high all the time. I learned it from. I had an amazing teammate in my first year at university, and he was older. And we had finished practice, and I went and I got some food. I mean, we're talking university level basketball. This is not a walk in the park. You're not playing with your friends. It's a proper situation, because a lot of us want to go pro after it. And I started eating. And then we're sitting down. We had study hall. We had to go to the library, put our books together as a team. And I ate again. And he goes, "Yo, G." I said, "What?" "You eat a lot." I said, "What are you talking about, man? I'm hungry." I said, "No, you're not." I said, "Yes, I am. We just had probably the worst practice of the week, and I'm still hungry." I said, "No." He's like, "You're eating out of a habit. Like, you only realistically hungry once a day, or maybe once in 2 days, to be honest with you." And I said, "What?" I said, "No, man, you're crazy." And he was a very devout Christian, and I loved that about him. So we'd have conversations, and he would always tell me. And we started talking about, the prophets and every single, faith that has been out there. And the common ground is that in every single faith, if you want to call it God or the universe or whatever it is that you believe in, you were told to fast at some point within that year. So fasting has a merit. And I didn't know that when I was younger. So after that, I started paying attention to how he always had energy. He always looked great. And I said, okay, he doesn't eat as much as I do. So I started cutting back. Before you know it, I was so hooked. I said, I will only eat when I am hungry, and I will know when I'm hungry. Most of the time, when you get those signals, it's just, your body's just bored, or you need to, it's a habit.
So you feel like we're swimming in oceans of calories nowadays, and we must take a step back. It's about subtracting, not about adding any juice, detox. Detox from what?
Exactly. This is a thing, man. If you believe in God or whatever it is that created you, and you have this body, right now, me and you are having a conversation. our bodies are regulating temperature, heartbeat, your blood pressure. It's probably fighting bacteria, fighting some sort of viruses that you're not aware of. It's working 24/7, 7 days a week since the day you were born. And a piece of bread is going to mess all of that up for you. Come on now. Like,
Yeah.
the body is so impeccable. And then all of a sudden, oh, I need to detox it. You have 2 kidneys and a liver. Do you understand the functions of the liver and the kidneys? These are factories that deal with your toxins day and night ever since you were born. And you want to tell me you need a product to detox? Just fast. Let your body do what it does. It's perfect. It's made flawlessly.
Most of the times to me it's about subtracting and removing constraints. It's not about adding, whether that's productivity, mental health, emotional health. Subtract. And that most of the times in my experience have or has the answers. Next question for you, and we are diving into the last part of our conversation. How does someone train smart?
Okay. It's a balance between wants and needs. Meaning, you want something and you're at a point that you need something. So you need to find that balance. Your body might have overactive and underactive muscles, which might be causing you a little bit of, let's say, pain or whatever,
And organs.
And you also want, or you like to, let's say, run and jump and do a bunch of stuff. So for you, you need to find an actually certified coach, not Instagram certified, really certified coach that can find you that balance between where do you want to be and where you are right now. And somebody that looks at you in a holistic approach. What's your stress levels like? What are you dealing with? At the end of the day, as a trainer or a coach, you sort of become borderline the psychiatrist and the best friend of your client. You're gonna wear a bunch of hats. So find you somebody that understands that. Find you someone that is very curious about your well-being. And for the PTs out there and the coaches, people are trusting you with their most expensive asset. 2 of their most expensive asset: time and their body. You can't throw that away. That's a big, big, big responsibility. And you need to be honest about it. You need to literally be vigilant in what you are trying to provide to help this person get what they want, and also see it in what they need to get to the point.
I've never thought about it that way. From what you're saying, training cannot always be fun.
It's always fun. You just need to find the way to make it fun. Everything's fun. And that's the thing. I will always say, your most important purpose, like when I teach classes, I'm like, I don't care how many reps you do. I don't care if you last the whole thing. I just want you to bring your energy and have as much as fun as possible. Because joy will keep you going. Joy will always keep you going in everything. And it will always relate better to your body. I mean, I've seen some of your posts about nutrition. And I love the stuff that you say, Diego. But if you look at it also, if you have a good relationship with food, your body will take care of it. But if your body is constantly thinking, I'm under attack, this is bad, this is horrible, this is blah, 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 guess what? We're going to start shooting some cortisol. Because your body's no longer ready for a meal. It's ready for an attack. The entire defense system is up. Inflammation, water retention, da, 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 da. But if you just look at it and you say, that looks tasty. That's a nice pizza. I really want to have a pizza right now.
You're welcoming the food differently,
Yes,
aren't you?
Yes. And your body is just like, okay, we're about to taste something really good, and we're going to break it down.
Disclaimer, this doesn't mean you should have 20 pizzas a day,
Yes.
right?
Of
Because
course
some
not.
people are like, because, you know.
No. No. I'm someone who can say that, and I'm telling you, the disclaimer is, again, yes, I do have one meal a day, but I've never paid attention to what that meal is. It's whatever I felt like having. and I earned it.
Fair enough. Definitely you did.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Wow.
But yeah, no, I agree with you on a lot of the stuff that you were saying earlier. Like, truly, Diego.
I have one thing that you mentioned to me, and we'll wrap up with this one. Quote by you: "Life is precious.
Mhm.
You're more powerful than you think." Please explain.
Okay. I'm someone who doubted himself a lot, and I still do from time to time. And it's through that doubt that I realized how much power I have within me, because I never thought I would survive every single thing that I've been through, whether it was injuries, loss of my mother, loss of my grandmother, loss of my father. I never thought I would ever be able to survive that. And becoming a self-employed person, I'm someone who does not depend on a salary. So just the whole entrepreneurship, self-employment, freelancer/freelancer life is not easy. It's not for everybody. And I'm still here. And there are days that are absolutely horrifying. But then I started realizing, oh my God, I've survived it so far. Sure, it wasn't all on me. You know, I do believe God watches out over everybody. But for me, if I would say it, it's life is precious, because we touched on it earlier, and I said, I don't know when's my last day. And I literally remind myself that every day, everything I do. If today was my last day, what would it be? How much value can I add? What can I bring to someone? It could be just a smile in a stranger's face on the street. It doesn't have to be something magnificent, you know, quote unquote. But did you smile at somebody in the elevator? Did you say something kind to somebody who delivered food to you? Did you treat your clients, let's say, with respect and love? Did you give yourself, you know, the attention it needs in a gym or in a workout, or, you know, maybe in a journaling or whatever it is that makes your soul happy? Did you eat something that you enjoyed? Did you drink something that you like? That simple. If today was my last day, what would I do with it? Literally, I wake up every day and I'm like, what would I do? How would it look like? That's about it.
Wow. A lot of food for thought.
We could say that.
Yeah. It's been insightful, and yeah, hopefully you come and teach us at Fab.
I would be honored. I would be honored, Jago. Thank you.
And thank you for being so open about life and the highs and lows, that a lot of people tend to forget the lows.
The lows are fun.
Yeah, they teach you.
Everything teaches you. That's the funny part. We don't lose at anything, to be honest with you. It's just an experience. One moment at a different time. And I mean, I've known you now,
Many years,
you know,
man.
many years.
Yeah, probably.
And I used to look at you and I'm like, man, this guy is on his stuff. He's a hell of a PT. I used to watch you and I'm like, and this is what I'm trying to say. Things come when they need to come. That's it. It'll happen in time. Like we always used to talk, yeah, I gotta see you. We gotta do this. And here we are today. You get what I'm saying? Why? Because you're teaching me something, and hopefully I'm providing the same thing back to you. Here we are. It's just experiences. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just an experience. You label it how you want to label it.
You add the
label. Yeah.
Sweet, man.
I appreciate you.
And
I love you, brother.
Love you back, man. I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome.